Brett, what's kind of been your focus these first 10, 11 practices, just in terms of what you're trying to implement?
Yeah, I think right now it's building habits, right? That's something that Coach Rule's talked about, our entire team has talked about. Building habits, building techniques that fit within the scheme that we're going to put guys in positions to do. That way, when we kind of build that out, we have the foundation for it. So, building habits, practice habits, taking coaching, feedback, all that kind of stuff. That's been where we spent the majority of our time this first almost 2 weeks, I guess now.
With Archie, you mentioned, I think you've said stock ball.
Yeah.
Like finding that for him. How have you felt that's been going? I know there's still time to work on that.
Yeah, there's definitely still time, but man, he's trending. Would be the way that I would say that. So he's taken coaching. He's had a great summer. He had a great spring. And he's often running this fall camp. So he's in a great spot.
How big a deal is it for Archie that, he had never played football before and just like going into year 2, what he can get out of it?
Yeah, no doubt. Nothing is new for him now, right? Like even practice, fall camp, all of that was brand new. Going out in the stadium was brand new. Game day was certainly brand new and all those situations. So just having an understanding and a comfortability of kind of what you're walking into every day, I think will be really beneficial for him.
How's your comfortability with walking in every day?
Yeah, it's a great question. Getting more comfortable every day. There are still some new things, that catch me off guard, or you got to adjust on the fly, and figuring out how to do that from a practice plan perspective. And Coach Rule is really good about keeping us on our toes and adjusting the practice, and that gives me a lot more comfortability going into the first game or the first run of games where that's what you're going to have to do. So getting more comfortable doing that, getting more comfortable running meetings, planning meetings, all of those things that just kind of go along with the job. But every day getting more and more, and the guys, the coaches make it a lot easier for me.
Over the offseason, how many different special teams contacts did you reach out to in the industry that and how much more did you have to zone in on things maybe you weren't having to zone in on before?
That's a great question. There was 4 that I reached out to, picked brains of. The challenge is when you get so many different voices of figuring out how am I going to tailor this to myself, right? Because the NFL game, the college game is different, and I've had the privilege of talking with a couple pretty good college coordinators, or that have been in college also. So trying to narrow that focus to what I've seen work at the NFL level, what I saw work last year, what I've seen work at other places, and really kind of put our own flavor on everything. And it's been a fun challenge, but it definitely is something that you have to take a step back and be aware of the different voices, the different opinions, and figure out, one more simplistic avenue to take everything.
How much access do you have, if any, to say starters or guys higher up on the depth chart? Do they volunteer?
Right now we are playing, best at position, but we're also mindful of, guys' legs and all of that. So it's kind of I don't have a great answer for you at this point, and what that is going to look like. What I know is we have a bunch of guys on our team that want to go play at the next level, and they understand that they're going to have special teams value for the most part at that next level. So whether they're actually going to be playing for us or not on Saturdays, the work that they do in our individual periods, our technique periods, is really, really cool to see, and we get the whole team doing that.
For people not having the red shirt, do you feel like you've seen more motivation on the field knowing that younger players could actually get more playing time on special teams?
I can't tell you that I've specifically noticed that. I think that's, could be a good observation. Again, we've got a bunch of guys that want to play, and has that opened up the, you can only play so many games, and now it kind of doesn't matter, probably. But what I've noticed is a bunch of guys that want to go out there, practice hard, learn their craft, figure out how they can contribute to the team, and that's kind of special teams coordinator's dream.
Your roots just in the state, Fremont, Kearney, now here, has it settled in, your role with this program now and how much it means?
It's no secret how important this place is to me, the state is to me, the program is to me. That hasn't changed. So I guess soaking in, I don't know that I feel any different now about it than I did day one. More comfortable, as I kind of alluded to earlier, but still excited and humble every single day that I walk in.
You only get so much time special teams wise each practice. How do you maximize the time that you get for your units?
Yeah, making sure that we're giving them drills and putting them in situations that are constantly going to show up, right? So if we're working kickoff return, how are we giving a look that's going to show up like on a kickoff team also, right? Same for punt return. Try to cross-train that as much as possible and really work the techniques that we're going to use in the season. That way when we may have different game plan schemes, they're all techniques and that come back to fall camp that we've tried and exposed the guys to.
How do you feel about the returners?
Was the gap between really good special teams in the NFL and really bad special teams wide? And is that gap wider or slimmer in college?
In the NFL, I don't think the difference between good and bad is very much at all in any single phase, offense, defense, Super Bowl champ to first round draft pick. There are dudes everywhere, right? And I think that's the same on special teams. It's a couple plays here, it's a couple plays there. In college, I think just by the nature of how everything is, you can see more talent gaps, right, than you do in the NFL because there's more players, the pool is bigger. I still think it comes down to how can you have explosive plays and how can you mitigate explosive plays against you, whether it's a turnover, giving up a big return, or figuring out, what's a returnable ball, how are we going to capitalize when we get that opportunity and not forcing your hand on that opportunity. And that's where I think the differences are at both levels, really.
They're equally all important, every special teams group, but is there one that you're like, this one's just a little bit more important because we can get something done in this phase versus another phase of special teams?
I do think they're all very important. There's they're important for different reasons. The coverage teams are important because you're talking about field position, right? Punt is important because you're talking about putting the defense in field position. We talked about like EPA with our team and why the pooch punt stuff is so important, and downing balls inside the 10, inside the 15, inside the 5 if we can, and taking those shots and being really good in those areas. And then the flip side is the return is an offensive play, right? And you asked about our returners, and they're like, we got explosive dudes back there. So though when you have those guys, you're not trying to just get out of that down, right? So we're gonna be calculated, but we're gonna be really aggressive in those units.
Is this something you want to put your imprint on, or is that, do you even think in those terms?
I don't think it's my imprint. I think it's the guys' imprint, right? They're the ones that are going to go, I promise you, I'm not going to go out there and make a good block or return a punt for a touchdown this year. But we got guys that can. It's going to be what they do, and the work that they're putting in now is going to be, what puts them over the top here come October, November, December, January when we look up at the end of the year.
Good. All right.
Cool.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Questions for Corey?
How do you feel, Coach, just about how that depth is maybe building, a week and a half into camp?
Yeah, I feel confident that the depth, these guys have been working hard. So I like their approach. The guys have been having it day by day. But it's definitely something where it's a lot of competitive going on, and it's a healthy competition. So I think that there'll be some guys that emerge from this competition that are doing some things consistently that we look for on a day-to-day and practice out game basis. But that healthy competition is still going on, so I'm excited about who will emerge and finalize those spots.
Playing 6 guys, how realistic is that you can have a quality group of 6 that you can rotate in throughout the whole season?
It's definitely important to have a rotation in there. Just as you guys know, this conference is heavy, week in and week out. A lot of demands on those guys interior wise. I think that we'll have those guys that can rotate in and out. You don't want to be a drop off, in the job details that are being done at a high level, and I think that's what we're working on right now. We have a multitude of things that we ask those guys to do up front, but the guys, their skill sets fit them. So I think, like I said, we emerged this last week before we break camp here. The guys that come out of that, I think they'll be very consistent and not have the drop off from 1 to 2 to, like you say, 6 guys.
What kind of progression have you seen from the 2 interior transfers of Owen and Jahsear from spring until now?
One, I would think as far as their bodies, getting their bodies in shape, I think Miss Kristen, nutrition, Coach Campbell, this guy, they do a great job getting their bodies ready. And then as it pertains to technique, really just knowing how they can anchor down, that they put themselves in position to do this. And then the transition pass rush is really huge. Sometimes conference is a little bit different, but in my opinion, you got to be a great transition pass rusher inside. It's not always you're going to be in that third and long situation to be with the wide alignment, attacking and working this, elite pass rush move. A lot of times it's going to be hands inside, transitioning from there. So they've gotten better, at being strong with their hands, working snatches and disengages to be better transition pass rushers.
It's the first chance you've gotten to work with Dylan Berryman since he's come here. How's that process gone?
It's been fun. Fun because I would say, one, this is the person that he is. His personality is definitely contagious. It's outgoing, but he does love the game of football. So he knows he has some things in front of him that he's approaching and attacking day by day. But we are looking to get him, in the best shape possible to be out there to be consistent. But he has a really, really good skill set, and he's instinctual when it comes to blocks, to fitting to the ball, and things like that carry defensive lineman far once he gets everything gets up to par.
Maybe a role for him. I mean, he can't redshirt anymore, so he's going to save him.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's the beauty of the season. It's long, so something is not there early. He still has weeks, to get that right. So there's definitely roles, within this defense to be filled out as well, and that's something that he's fighting for.
Look at the identity as a whole you want your unit to play with, what would that be?
Man, fast and physical, same things along those lines, but being in attack mode up front. You have to attack the line of scrimmage, you have to be heavy-handed, and then IDM blocks, because the faster you IDM, the faster you can get off of them. We don't want to stay stuck on blocks, we want to be able to disengage, but doing all that really, really playing downhill. And I know, you talk about our motto from the defense, is simple, fast, and violent, is right along those lines. But the faster you can ID blocks, the faster you can destroy them and get off of them and make plays on the ball.
What have you seen out of also? I mean, Tyson Terry's kind of all the way back now.
Yes, sir.
So what's he been like in camp for you?
Been great to work with as well. He has great balance, first and foremost. I think that shows. He is a heavy-handed individual as well. He's pretty consistent, having his hands inside to set himself up for, able to be able to disengage off blocks. So the main thing with him is just how it's been, whatever this case, a year or something like this, to get back to playing football day by day, and then just having to slow down from, like, what blocks are you seeing, IDing those blocks, and then fitting right off from there. But, his approach is second to none. He's definitely there. Early takes care of his body, gets himself ready to roll, has the right questions, asks the proper questions, and then, tries to apply coaching to get better, either the next rep and then day by day. But just his balance and overall strength that he has is a real, real big skill set for him.
Defenses that don't have such an attacking style for their D linemen?
I have. When I was at Notre Dame, we were more of a read attack, and that's usually when we talk about clinic talk is attack, react versus read attack. Those are different type of guys. You got to be able to have some, lead in your pencil, so to speak, to be able to play that front. But we are, mostly attack, react here. So our guys can be on edges, attack their visual keys, try to do it with great hand placement, and then from there destroy blocks.
The players taken to your coaching, and can you describe how the relationships were formed in the short amount of time over the course since you arrived here?
Yeah, thankful that we had the spring to grow, because all the guys in the room were here besides Dylan, Berryman, and even with recruiting him, you build that bond during recruiting as well. But my style of coaching is always to be a great technician, but yet do it with great effort. And it's just something that's demanded. So as you grade film, as you watch film with these guys, you always set that precedent and try to hold them accountable. And then from there, have them hold each other accountable. Because at the end of the day, I think they know how we want our unit to look. And we have great leaders in the room. Van Popper's been around here, and even some other guys that got a little taste last year. And even the guys coming in, there's been a good bond. But we know in this defense, you got to be strong interior-wise. So us setting the tone. Definitely being in attack mode, making sure we're not getting pushed around, and then from there, setting everybody up to play like second and long and third and long is some situation stuff that we talk about as well. So I think they're taking heed to it, but yeah, we definitely want to close out this camp very, very strong.
What does growth look like for Riley?
One more time, sir.
What does growth look like for Riley?
You know, I would say finish, man. That's definitely something that he knows. And, you know, you don't get a chance to sometimes tackle live all the time throughout camp. But when you are in like a third tackle situation for a defensive lineman, it's really the next best thing. You have to take that extra step to be in good position to near foot, near shoulder, you know, thud a guy up. You can do it in an individual drill, but putting in a team setting, that'll be the thing that carries over, you know, to a game setting. So I think he understands it, you know, he knows it. And then the next facet for everybody, like I say, is being a good pass rusher as well. And the stronger he is with his hands and being consistent with his hand placement, that's going to allow him to, you know, be a dude in that, you know, transition pass rush mode. And then along those lines, is always, you know, you should always, if you don't get to the quarterback, be able to affect it with match hands. And that's something I think he can get done on a consistent basis. But that is going into how detailed he is in his rush lanes to the cue, and then finishing if he doesn't get there with that match hand.
Have you determined your top 6? Can you say who right now who they are?
It is a work in progress day by day. We rotate them in practice that way so that they can have good opportunities to communicate with different people. That has caused sometimes to be a little lapse of communication, but that's also where you get the growth from. So you want to, because in a game, you know, you want to sub and make sure guys stay fresh, so they're going to be in there with different guys. But that's definitely being worked out still.
Who's a guy from the spring that's maybe made a move like that wasn't really on your radar as much in the spring?
Yeah, you know, just thinking about guys like a battle in the spring. You know, obviously we talked about Tyson, you know, coming back, you know, doing some good things from there. You know, Sue is a guy that's flashed as well, you know, in the pass rush mode thing. So it's guys here and there, and I say it's day by day too. With those guys applying coaching, you know, you don't want to have those ups and downs. You want those guys to be on that steady incline. But right now, I feel like that's what's making this group, you know, be strong. There are guys that's flashing here, flashing there, and collectively, if we keep doing that, you know, I think we have a good, strong unit, which I always say is strength in numbers, and in this unit is going to be needed throughout the season. You know, whether that's goal line defense, whether that's red zone defense, whether that's, you know, a cheetah package, so to speak. So there's different roles out there to be had, just like he was alluding to earlier.
Is there an indicator for what makes heavy hands, like whether it's bench press or something else, or is it just something people naturally have?
No, I definitely would say it's a direct correlation to what you do in the weight room. You know, all those, you know, the lifts you do, there also, you know, your grip has to be strong, but there's things you can do in the weight room to work on your grip strength as well. And then the placement is really huge because you got to be able to grab cloth, and it's something that's a fight day in, play out for the offensive line to being taught the same thing. To get their hands inside and be tight with it. But all those coaching points as far as having elbows no tight with your thumbs up and trying to make sure you land and locate them, it's a race every day between you and a good offensive line to do that. And that's what's helped us as well. Like you know, in the spring I talked about it, but, you know, we battle against a good offensive line. So, you know, if you miss with them, you know, you're going to be in a disadvantageous situation. So you got to rebite them and go from there.
I know you don't technically coach him, but is there one of the defensive ends that is particularly impressive to you in that way? Heavy hand?
Yeah, you know, I mean, one there is a guy that who always, you know, has a good inside hand on his pass rush moves. He seems to locate that, you know, consistently. You know, and Cam's another one as well. You know, Cam's heavy-handed too. When he takes on blocks, if he's doing everything right technically, he has a chance to be, you know, low levered and then destroy those blocks.
Thank you. We've heard a lot about Gunnar, just kind of him reasserting himself. What have you seen from him that has kind of given what he's shown in camp, just the move he's made to kind of make a run at the starting job?
Oh, Gunnar's had a great camp, had a great summer. Gunnar to me is like one of those kids that I trust. Like, he is gonna get it done because he loves Nebraska. You know, just tough, gritty. You know, plays through the whistle. So, you know, those are the kind of guys we will win with. And it's just something as a coach, like, you know, if it's 3rd and 1 and we run behind him, I know he's going to get his hat across, and I know he's going to strain and he's going to fight for his team, and you know, those are the kind of guys we'll win with. So, great camp. I love Gunnar Gottula.
Has Pritchett kind of kept his momentum going from the spring and summer?
Yes. You know, with Pritch, it's you know, I honestly think Pritch, just be complete transparency, I just think Pritch needs some needs to just start fast, play confident, and just, you know, have some have something good happen to him. Does that make sense? And, I think Pritch is a guy that we've challenged him to, hey, man, just work hard, don't think about it, play violent. And, I don't know if you guys are out there, but when you watch him just warm up, it's something that, the lights clicked. I think I'm very proud. I'm very, very proud of Pritch, but I'm very proud of him just from the way he's working, and attacking it. Not saying it's all perfect, but, you can watch him stretch. I'm like, he's about to have a good day. Just the body language, and what he's about. So very proud of that.
Did you see the Gottula Babalad battle in the spring? Was it happening in the spring, or is this a recent sort of development?
I don't look at it as like a battle. I look at it as like I'm trying to get 8 guys go win the Big Ten, and play them anywhere. Like Black's played some center, Gottula's played right guard, So I'm trying to get the best 5 out there at all times for Nebraska, and that's my job. And it's not like, okay, you're the backup guard, you're going in. No, we're trying to find 8 guys that can go play winning football, Big Ten football for us. And, we're not there yet. I think we got a plan to do that, but we got to go do it,
As a collective group, where have you seen this group get better between spring to now?
I think just the mentality, the discipline to fight through adversity. There's going to be adversity every day in something, whether, coach rules, changing the periods on them and changing around and making them, just off the cuff of stuff. And, and then there's going to be days where you feel good. Today I walked in, it's Bloody Tuesday. Hey, let's get that mentality start. We cannot waste a day, and if you don't feel good, you got to have the switch upstairs to come in the same day every day, because this is where we'll win and lose football games. So I think the mentality, I think they have some confidence, which I want them to have confidence. But I just think the work ethic and the mentality of, listen, if it's not perfect and I strain and I compete, then I have a chance for it to be okay. Then we can live, and then, hey, play the next play. So that's kind of something that we've been working towards.
Speaking with Paul Mubing, he said it's not just your way or no way. You kind of let the guys play.
Yeah. I don't want to paralyze them. I want to run off the ball, and I want to play violent, be violent with our hands. And if you give them 17,000 things to think of, they're not going to do that. And I want to play, I want to be simple, and I think, you just get guys that love football, and you can coach them off the film. Sometimes when you get an older group, you can fix it in the film room. You don't have all the time in the world to go fix it. So I just want them playing fast and not thinking. And if they do that, at the end of the day, then we'll have a chance to be successful, even if it's not perfect. Because, guys, offensive line's an imperfect position. It's never going to be perfect. I'm never going to be happy till the last day of bowl practice or college football play, whatever. It's just the way it is.
How have you seen Justin and Calandria continue to build their relationship with one another?
I think Calandria kind of brings the best out of the group sometimes with his. He's kind of that dude mentality of every day he's the same guy, and I think that, we kind of feed off him at times. And with Justin, it's, he's trying to just be the leader now. I've challenged him, being the leader, you got to upset people at times. And that's what I want him to work on. Like, I don't want the lulls that have happened. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're up, they start coming, oh no, hey, let's fight through it and let's go play the next play. That's something we're trying to work on with Justin to really be more of a vocal leader in the good and in the bad.
You talked about that older unit. Just how valuable is it to have all those guys who have a lot of, playing time and have a lot of experience?
Experience matters at this level, at any level, it's valuable. And just the type of people they are, they care. It's, something about, we talk about ego strength, to have confidence yourself, but have the humility to know that we got to get better, and that's something that these kids will take. You can coach them. You can coach them hard. You can get on them. And just because they are grown men, they are experienced, they've been through it. And so I think that's valuable. Now we got to go do it here in a couple of weeks. So it's something we're looking forward to.
Have you seen any guys make a move since the spring, kind of, so to speak?
Gibson Powell. Gibson Powell. I've had a great couple of days. When you don't talk about somebody in the film room, that's a good thing. So very, very excited about Gibby. Going to challenge him to take his game another level, because we're going to need some guys like that during the season. And so he's a guy that, been hurt for the past year, right? I think, and he's really taken to it, really listened when he wasn't doing anything during spring and summer, to what we do up front, and kind of had a really good solid camp. Guard all the way, yeah. Yep.
When you have a mobile quarterback like Calandria, how does that help the offensive line at times when he can maybe get you out of some pickles?
I think, I think with a mobile quarterback, I think one thing that you, maybe as a coach, you think about, you're not going to get as much stuff. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to get pressured as much. Last couple of years where I was at with Hayne, you just got 4-2 and maybe a couple twist games, so you didn't get all the, hey, we're going to go after that quarterback because he can make you, So I think with Calandria, hopefully he won't, we won't get as much exotic stuff, if you know what I mean, and things like that. But we don't look at it like that, because sometimes the mobile quarterback will run right into the guy that's right there, and so we're just trying to keep working on protection and doing our job in training and keeping them off. So,
where's the relationship with the running back room kind of grown the most over the spring?
I think that they've got a chip on their shoulder. I think the whole offense does, but I think that those guys have really worked hard. We get with them a lot and walk through with them and stuff like that. So I think that's something that I'm excited about that group. With Nelson, Mosey, and Jamal. I mean, Genentone had a good day today. So there's some valuable, in having that many backs, because you're going to need them.
I know you wanted Paul Mabenga pretty bad. How has he sort of fulfilled what you were kind of hoping for, and what's his ceiling? What's his potential?
Paul's just like, he's in there right now working extra. That's just the kind of guy he is. So that's something that is very valuable to me. I know Paul. I know what he's about. I know I can get on him, and he's taking it to heart, and he's not somebody that's going to back down from getting coached hard. And he's been great. There's things I want him to work on with his hands and the second step, getting more vertical and little things like that. But he's played a lot of ball. He's a grown man. He loves Nebraska. So I mean, those guys are, I think that right there itself, matters a lot.
How close are you to knowing exactly your top five, and when do you want to know it for sure?
I hadn't even thought about that, and that's not coach talk, because this week's still camp. You know what I mean? Matt's challenged us as coaches that this week is fundamentals, tough, camp, grind them, let's go. Because we don't have many more of these days left, so we can't waste that. The valuable time I get during Indy, okay, today we're really going to work this scheme, and tomorrow we're really going to just work this scheme for 20 minutes, not just do this, and this. So this time is really valuable for me to really hone in on the fundamentals that we got to get fixed so that we can take another step. Does that make sense, Connor? Yep.
Thanks.
Where does Breadman come from?
I said this a while ago. It really just came from, I seen Jalen Carter Instagram handle, and I was like, man, it's a solid nickname if you just brand it right and just keep being a great player. So that's what really came to mind. And then after, I think I just took it behind myself, to just brand it and just keep playing ball and just let the name stick to me, and eventually it did.
Jahsear, where's your weight at? What did you come in at Nebraska? Where are you weighing right now?
Right now, I'm at about 275, 279 range, anywhere from that. It definitely fluctuate. I came in, if I want to be real honest, definitely 250, maybe a pound below that. So they definitely did a great job, Miss Kristen, Coach Corey, and the whole staff, getting me right, getting me the bulk that I needed to become a better player.
Been able to keep your quickness.
Absolutely. That's one thing they always stress, just making sure I was still who I am when I came in.
Jahsear, what will be some of the biggest differences between the ACC and the Big Ten, in your opinion?
For me, it's all just football, honestly. That's how I see it. I just came in with the same mentality I came in as a freshman when I was in a different conference, and that's just the work. And for me to be the alpha dog of the conference, so didn't really looking too much of the difference, but might get a couple more runs, but I'm not really looking into that. Just working on me and the team.
Why do you think you can be someone that helps elevate this defensive line from what they were a year ago?
Well, one thing I like to do, I like to just work. I think that right there is something that builds a room together, builds guys up when they see somebody working. I got in a lot of work with my guys in the room, and you see it translate. Like just the Saturdays when nobody's is watching, you just see it, you know. And then my athletic ability, my energy, the way I talk to my guys, like a guy can have a bad rep, and I'll make the guy like forget all about the rep, and I'm actually remembering, like helping him remember who he is as a player. So we all got great players, and a guy gonna have a bad rep, but me as a teammate, I always lift the guy up.
Said that you have elite twitch. Is that something you take, a lot of pride in, and also your pass rush versatility?
Yeah, it's definitely something I get to utilize. Something that, you almost born with it. You can't really teach it. So I'll say like God bless me with that. So all praise to him. And it just allows me to be the guy who I want to be. Fast, violent, go from one spot to another before you can even see it.
What's been the biggest difference between camp here compared to maybe what you've been used to in your football career?
It's really been the same for me. It's just day in, day out, grinding. Feel like you don't really, it's not too much difference when you're trying to just have bullet points on things you're trying to get better at day in, day out. So I just attack the camp. I just attack any camp or any day, any practice with the same mentality. Just get better at something that I didn't feel like I was better at the previous day or probably Coach Corey.
How has the way that you like to play meshed with the way Corey teaches and Rob's scheme overall?
It matches because Coach Corey wants you to be violent. I'm a very violent guy. And then Coach Rob, his scheme is to make plays. And that's all I'm about, being violent and making plays. So I think you put those two together and those two things that I naturally had a little bit, and they're just adding on top of it. They're definitely creating a force, a real monster.
You were asked about your weight. I'm sure over your career you've been questioned about your height and your weight. What do you say to people who ask you that question, which I'm now doing?
A lion's mentality, well, you can't measure a lion's heart. So I got a heart of a lion, mentality of a lion. You can't measure that. You can't weigh that. There's no weight, height, anything. So that's just how I attack the game. Like, I may be smaller, but actually have more leverage than a lot of guys. I may be lighter, but I'm a little bit quicker. So, so it's a lot of pros and cons to it, but I'm just a dog, man. I just love the game. So I think that right there, that's going to definitely erase all the worries.
Is there guys that you like to watch either in college or in the NFL? You're like, I want to emulate myself after that guy.
I always take into account Aaron Donald, just because of he a legend. So and I'm a 6-foot guy. I watch a lot of football, but I definitely imitate guys who are about like 6'1", 6 foot, and try to see like, okay, what are they doing at the next level? What is something that I'm probably not doing consistently that they are? So. If it's one thing for me, I see Aaron Donald, he gets off the ball nonstop. And I might see a play or two where I didn't like my get off. So now it's on me to, even when I'm dead tired or I have the most energy, get off the ball. Because when I get off the ball, I'm the most violent. So
you see these running backs every day. Who are the ones that kind of give you guys the biggest tests in practice?
I say that whole running back room, honestly. That running back room, they have a great coach, and they have a great mentality when they run the ball. It's a lot of times I don't even know who's in the game when they're running the ball, but they're all running the ball hard. They're all trusting their blocks. Every tackle I make I have to bring it. So I'll say to that running back room, like, they're doing a great job, a lot of progress, and I love what they're doing.
What's the biggest challenge facing that offensive line every day?
Biggest challenge? Got to see Paul every day. That's a good guy. That's a real good player. I tilt my hat to him. I seen he gave me some shout out on his media. That's a guy right there. We go at it every day. Every one-on-ones, it's me and him first. Every team rep, it's me and him. So I'll say, like, just me and him going at it, like iron sharpens iron. And then you got Elijah Pritchard right there. He's going to come on the down block a couple times. So that's going to make me stay on my P's and Q's. But that unit right there, they're real physical. Even when they're dead tired, like I could probably hear them breathing, they're still firing off the ball. So I think that's the scariest part about them, that they got a motor, just like a defensive lineman. But you got Justin Evans, a great leader, Also a great teammate. I'm real close with the whole line unit. I joke with him all the time. I'm always playing with him. And when we get on the field, we know it's war. And when we get in the locker room, we know it's all love. So I love that unit, and I love what Coach Geep is doing.
Why is it you and Paul first? Did you guys decide that?
I think it naturally came in the spring where it was just like we just suddenly aligned. And as you go through, you know, you realize, like, this guy gets me better. He keeps me on my toes. If I don't do a certain thing, then he might take me to the ground. So little things like that is what I'll run towards. Like, I would like to run towards the best guy, the most, you know what I'm saying? Not to say that he's, you know what I'm saying, the best lineman or anything, but just in general, I know that he's a great player, and he's going to be one of the best in the conference. So it's like, why not just keep lining it up with him?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Brendan, how have you just seen that this group come together, like a 5-as-1 type of mentality on that offensive line?
It's been great. I think over time we've all created a big relationship, and I think just as time goes on, we've gotten better.
Coach Rule said, I think maybe you're the strongest guy on the team. I mean, is that always, when you were at Iowa State, was it kind of similar? You were always a big weight room guy, and have you made some gains since you've gotten to Nebraska?
Yeah, I've definitely made some gains since I've gotten here. But like even in high school, I did weightlifting and stuff. So that's just how I've always been.
How many reps did you do at 225?
34.
What's it like having Jeep as a coach?
He's great. Really lets us play freely, and I like that about it. But also he has his guidelines that we follow.
Does he have a certain saying or two that he repeats a lot that kind of defines that position?
I think the biggest one is us against the world.
When they came out with 5 for 5, how happy were you with that ruling? And I mean, have you started to think about, hey, you could possibly be here now 2 years versus just 1?
I haven't really thought about that yet.
How important is it to have the experience that you guys have in that unit?
It's very important. I think bringing the young guys along too is a big part of it.
Had you worked much at center before you got here?
Last spring ball at Iowa State, I did play center.
What's the challenge of adjusting to that position or playing that versus where you are in the interior?
I think if you study enough, it's not really much different.
Your coach was mentioning Gibson Pyle. He's made progress. What have you seen from him? I mean,
Yeah, he's a great player. He's been great. I mean, there are a bunch of guys you could talk about in that room that have been great.
What have you seen from some of the younger players as they develop? What's the area where they've grown the most?
I'd honestly say just running off the ball, not being hesitant.
Would you say this room has a lot of confidence right now?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I just think we all run off the ball. We know what we're doing, and yeah.
What have you seen from Gunnar Gottula, kind of a veteran in that room with you guys, and how he's come back and battled?
Yeah, Gunnar's been great. I mean, once he got back from that injury, it didn't even look like he had gotten hurt. So it's been great.
All good.
Appreciate you guys.
Be healthy.
Yeah, it feels great.
It was a long road for sure. So feels great to be back out there with the guys just playing football again. So yeah.
What parts of your game did you hone in on just being out, and how has that kind of translated to your comeback?
Yeah, I think I've just, obviously when you're hurt, you just have a big focus on just strength and lifting when you're in the early stages of just trying to get rehab and stuff like that. So I focus a lot on my strength, just getting stronger, building my body, gaining good weight. That's kind of been my big focus. And then, just trying to refine all my techniques and fix different things here and there once I've got back to playing in camp.
How has Jeep been an asset for you in that regard?
Yeah, he's been a great asset. I mean, he teaches a lot of great things about the game of football, whether that's technique-wise or situationally knowing what you're going to get in different situations or pass downs, run downs, things like that. So he's just a great teacher and mentor.
Jeep talked about you playing even some guard if you could. I mean, how much guard have you been able to rep, or is right tackle mainly still your main focus?
Yeah, I mean, I've been mainly playing right tackle, but then again, I know things will happen in football. So, I mean, I'm ready to play whatever position is needed, and, just getting quick reps here and there can really help being prepared for stuff like that.
How valuable is it to have the experience that this unit has?
Yeah, experience is, really important, and it's really important, and also making sure a unit can kind of mesh, and, when a whole unit has seen a lot of different things from different conferences or different teams, just in general, I think it helps kind of, we can pick each other's brains about what we see on film or just when we're out on the field, so we can really mesh together and kind of use that to our advantage.
Coach Wade talked about Gibson Pyle and what he's been doing. You came in with him a couple years ago. What have you seen from him from when you guys came in to where he is?
Yeah, Gibby's done a great job. This offseason we were together a lot because we were both rehabbing injuries. So I know Gibby really well as a teammate and a friend. He works really hard. I'm really proud of him. He does a great job.
When Nebraska signed all those guys, those transfer linemen, was there just obviously you want to compete? Like, was there a sense of motivation of like, this is I want to try to compete against the guys that they recruited?
I think my biggest sense of motivation was just coming back healthy from my injury and getting back to playing football. And I think the biggest thing with everyone on our team is we kind of have a mindset of you're competing against yourself every single day to be better every single day. So that's kind of how I look at it, especially during the rehab process that I went through this offseason, was just trying to become a better me every single day. And then now we're in camp playing football, just trying to become a better me on the football field.
Did you feel like because you had a new position coach, you had to come out and have a really good camp, like prove it?
Yeah, I think camp's important for everybody, no matter what the situation is with a coach or different things like that. So I try to not take any day for granted and always try to grow every single day and just put my best foot forward every day.
Where have you seen Elijah Pritchett come the furthest from maybe last year at this time to now?
Yeah, Pritchett's been doing great this camp. I'd say the biggest thing with Pritchett is just his confidence and kind of going out there and knowing how great of a player he can be, because he is a great player. And so I think just for me, being his teammate, I've seen his confidence grow a lot. And just kind of the mental aspect of the game for him, it feels like it's slowed down for him. And, he's doing a great job. I'm proud of him.
With your goal of just getting back and being a better version of yourself as you have played football again, did you achieve that? Have you felt yourself, being that best version of what you wanted to be?
Yeah, I think I'm in a good spot. Obviously in camp every day you're going to have things that you look over and film and fix every single day. But, I feel good out there. Kind of bigger than I was last year, so it feels good to have a little more weight, a little more strength from the off season. So, yeah, I feel like I'm doing good out there. It feels good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And got acclimated here with just everything at Nebraska.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with the strength and conditioning staff. Just overall, my conditioning, and just, coming in every day and trying to be the same person and being consistent. So I would say that most definitely.
What brought Nebraska onto your radar as far as coming?
I say they're a hard-nosed program. I believe that's also the way I play, and I wanted to be part of the culture. I believe everything that Coach Rule and his staff believes in, and I think that's something that was a big deciding factor for me to ultimately come here.
About playing them.
What's that?
What you remember about playing them in the bowl?
Tough-nosed team. They, what I'm saying? They're going to run the ball. The offensive line been good. Just like I said, they have a culture and identity, and like I said, again, I wanted to be part of that.
You're in position to do this. Compare that line that you faced in that bowl game to the one you face now.
I'm sorry?
Compare the line that you faced in the bowl game, Nebraska's line then, to the one you face now.
I think they're two different offensive lines, most definitely. I think the offensive line we have here, they come out every day ready to work. They're a really good unit, and I think they've shown that day in and day out.
What has Corey Brown brought, just getting a chance to work with him? What do you like about what he brings, and then obviously Coach Tollison too?
Yeah, both coaches bring a lot of experience. I think being able to utilize them and look into, some of the positions and places they've been, they allow us to, play free and vertical. They want us to be violent. They want us to make sure we're putting hands on people. And just trying to be like a sponge of people who've been there and done that, I think has been very important and crucial.
You've played in a lot of college football games. How are you trying to just bring up some of the young guys in your room too?
Yeah, I think just trying to be a leader by example. Consistency is key. just showing young guys what it takes to ultimately play, and do that through the way I practice and how I carry myself.
How determined were you just to come back from last year with the injury and have a final season of college football where you can show everything you have?
I'm sorry?
Just how determined were you to come back from injury last year and just show everything in a final season of college football what you have?
Yeah, very determined. This was a great opportunity. I feel very blessed to be in this position. I just want to strive to do my best and put the best things on tape that I can. So,
Have you played with any true freshmen that came in with the type of frame that Dylan Berryman has?
I played with a few people, but Dylan Berryman is will be a really good player for the Cornhuskers in the future, along with a lot of other young guys that we have here. We have a bunch of young guys that are developing, making plays, and I think the whole room of young guys that we have will be very talented.
What's the training table here like compared to Boston College?
I think the resources and training table here are just second to none anywhere you go, not any particular school. I think the resources here are just an amazing thing. It allows you to really work on what do you need? Do you need to go ahead and cut down, lean out, get rid of a few pounds? Do you need to gain some weight? And ultimately, those resources, just allow a lot of our players, I feel like, to maximize them and play to the best of their potential.
Well, what kind of differences do you think you'll see in the Big Ten from the ACC?
Yeah, like I played against a few Big Ten teams in the ACC as well, so I'm kind of used to that already. I think both conferences demand different things. The Big Ten is just gonna do a little bit more of what I guess I would prefer. Rundowns. We're gonna be running the ball. They're gonna consistently do that. So I think that's maybe the only biggest difference.
Something you prefer?
I just think that's one of my strong suits. I think whenever you turn on the tape, you'll see that. Running the ball for me is something that I take pride in. And
Thanks, Owen.
Thank you.